when it comes to groups I'm associated with or have associated with, like the Marine Corps, you're a Marine in your heart before you go get commissioned or enlist, right? That's the person you are. And that group exemplifies a lot of what you believe already. And you see it as a conduit through which you can affect change and do good. That's what men do. That's how men act. And so being Mgtow, is a group. It's an idea, it's a thought process, it's a position, it's a stance that I don't associate with because I just decided one day to be there. I already was. I pre-existed. I'm a man. Right? And it's a group where I can choose whatever way I want to go. The moment I choose to go against feminism, against society's norms, I become Mgtow, right? In name. And I leave just the Mgtow in spirit and become Mgtow in name because I'm going my own way. But we're in a position, I think, where we're damned if we do, and we're damned if you don't, right? Your back is against the wall. Are you going to turn and face the wall and be run through with the sword? Or, now that they've got us against the wall, are you going to say something? Are you going to face your accuser and say something? Face feminism and say something? Are you going to raise your voice to it and say no more? Are you going to point out how wrong it is and make it face its own evil? Are you going to raise your own hand in an effort to save yourself? Are you going to fight back? Right? Are you going to approach the enemy at that point and step away from the wall and fight like you mean it? Are you going to step away from the wall 2 or 3 steps to give yourself a lot of room to fight, but also exposing yourself on all sides? You see, that's the more you step out and away from the corner you're hemmed in as a man, the more exposed you are. But also, it allows you more room to move. It allows you to flex your muscle. It allows you to fight more effectively. And I guess the point I'm making is you're already against the wall as a man, and you may not know it. As Mgtow, you may know it. At some point, if nothing is done, we're all going to have that sword either against our back or against our chest, and you're going to have to fight back, or you're going to have to surrender yourself. And being Mgtow or being a man isn't a choice. It's who you are. Mind and spirit. It's just whether or not you choose to do something about it. And that speaks to your character. It speaks to your character. Once again, are you going to turn around and face the enemy? Are you going to hold your head high? Are you going to say something? Are you going to do something? Are you going to fight back? Are you going to fight like you mean it? Are you going to step out in the open and be a man? The ultimate man that your potential would allow you to be. And we're all not equal. There is no created equal in this arena. Right? A lot of fighters are great fighters and they lose. And a lot of people who don't realize that they're good fighters find out that they are. The only way to know is to fight. Pitfalls, man. If you succumb and back up and stop and shut your mouth and do as you're told because of those pitfalls, those threats, that fear-based thinking, right? Then you're succumbing to fear. Now you're the prey instead of the predator. Right? The deer is fearful, and it's always running and always looking out behind it for the wolf. The predator, the hunter, right? It needs that, right? It needs to push you and push you into being fearful. But if you turn on them and you yourself recognize that you are, right, the man, that you are powerful, the predator. Now we've got predator versus predator. And we know how weak women are physically. We know how weak they are mentally. And even a pack of them is no match, right? There's no match for a real predator. All of a sudden you'll realize when you stand up and start objecting to this shit, that while you're facing a wolf, you're not really a wolf. You're something much greater, right? So there's two ways to look at being Mgtow. That you're being victimized, and that you're subject to the pitfalls, or that you're going to have to make a stand at some point and participate a little more strongly. You know, this is a war. I've talked about that in the past. But being afraid, that's what they want you to be. Being scared, that's what they want you to be. They want you to think that they're powerful and that you're not, and that collectively they can beat you while they can't. And if you succumb to it, you're committing a form of suicide. You're denying yourself to the point where you won't recognize yourself. And I ask people to do that in my personal life and on here. Go stand in front of a mirror and look at yourself. What do you see? What do you see? Do you see a coward? Do you see a dunderhead, a dunce, an idiot, an imbecile? Or do you see a man? And if you see a man in that mirror, then you can start asking some more questions. What kind of man are you? And you can be honest with yourself. What kind of man are you? And then you can ask yourself, does that man have the potential to be more than what he appears to be? And if that's the case, where do you go? And it's up to you, because at that point you are now thinking like a man. And you'll realize when you think like a man that there's so much more to life than what you're allowed to think of under the current system. All right. I want to wish you guys a great day, and I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for thumbs upping all videos, commenting, thumbs upping comments. I want to thank you guys. Right? Because if we've made it this far together, right, the path is ahead of us and set. And what happens is what happens. Right. Let's say there was a class action lawsuit by some feminist group that wanted to gather and go through Google and get all the names and addresses and phone numbers of all the Mgtow video makers and join us in a lawsuit saying we violated their human rights by talking about things that matter to us in our opinion. That would be interesting, would it not? I would like to see that publicity, because then you would have a voice. It would be public. It would be huge, and it would be. It wouldn't be a little dark corner of the internet. It would be front row, front stage, and men would start becoming aware that there was an alternative way to think. And perhaps all those men out there, like the ones we see on here that say, I was Mgtow and I didn't know it, perhaps they would stand up and shout even louder and realize their options weren't so limited after all, and that it's okay to be a man and proclaim the truth. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Have a great, great day and week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Mgtow is freedom. I have the penis. Semper Fi.